It's probably true to say that the hatchback has kind of fallen out of love a little bit with Ireland, or is it the other way around? You still see plenty of them, but it's just not a crossover. But I think we need to get back to our hatchback ways because, first of all, they're generally cheaper. The boot is generally the same size and they drive an awful lot better. And in this particular segment, the Ford Focus, does it drive better than the Golf? Because it generally has always done in the past. Now the Focus itself is about €21,000. This version you're talking about 26 because it's the ST line. It is all show and no go to a point because it has a 1 litre EcoBoost engine with 125 brake horsepower. But I think it's the best looking Focus Ford have ever made. And I say that as someone who had a Mark I back in 2002, and I think that had 75 brake horsepower. So this is actually tipping towards almost double. And it certainly drives better, handles better, and I think just looks pretty good. So we'll have a look at the engine and driving it in a little while. But first of all, let's just point out some of the extras you get with the ST line. Keyless entry. Don't get blind spot. You can get a pack that does have that, of course. These are upgraded alloy wheels. They're 18-inch. I think they look okay. You get an ST line badge on the side. And just because the ST brand is so famous, I think people will think, especially with twin exhaust pipes, that this is quicker than it is. Side on or rear though is where I think this generation Focus really does pop from the rest of the hatchback crowd. So many brands have tried to copy it, emulate it. There's a bit of Kia in it, Skoda in some ways, maybe even BMW in other ways, but that low roofline that still gives you plenty of headroom and just the creases on the car in a darker colour, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. Now the blue that you can get in the Focus, that is the one I would go for. This is actually supposedly a blue kind of colour, although it really is grey, and I'm not colourblind. These laces are orange. You'll know this is the EcoBoost version because you've got a badge there. There's the twin exhaust I was talking about. They really do make it look like it's got a bit more power than it does. Nice big boot spoiler across the back and a boot of 375 litres. Generally cars like this, they're 375, 380, 385. I don't think there's many that will go to the 400. You've got to get something a bit bigger for that. Big, huge lip if you're loading in. There is a spare wheel under here. It's a space saver, but at least there's something. Big dirty yellow halogen light over here and some very simple shopping hooks in the back. It's a really no frills boot, apart from also some extra hooks here. But when you think of the Puma, for example, that has the mega box down there, there's nothing too fancy about it, except 2 handles on the boot, which means you can close it in one go. Legroom is actually pretty decent in the back of this car. It kind of reminds me of the Seat Leon. If you want to have a look at that video review, it's up there. It does strike me as just having a little bit more space than the Golf. However, there's no armrest. You do get 2 Isofix seats, nice big chunk of headroom. There is nets on the back of these seats, and there's a very generous Ford. Oh God, you're spoiling us. 12-volt charger down there. I mean, who actually uses them anymore? And it's hard plastic in the back here. Again, the Golf will edge it just in interior quality ever so much, but I can't say this is any smaller than your typical hatchback. In fact, in some cases, I think the legroom might be most generous in this Focus. Those little door guards that come out in the front doors, the back doors, they're very handy for car park spaces, especially if you have kids or when they whack them into walls, because that's just what kids do. There's plenty of warnings. Your colour display is typical of any Ford on sale today. It likes to beep, I get it. Fuel economy, we'll get to that in a sec. It's I'm not sure. The floating tablet that you get with Fords is here. Nice bright colours on it. You can sync up your phone if you want to get nav going on, mobile apps. You can then use CarPlay and stuff like that. And the maps probably easier to use on your phone because they'll update more frequently. The button that flicks between the FM and digital and phone connections can be a bit tricky. Ford's climate control is generally excellent, but it's not full climate control here. It's manual aircon, and it's either on all the way, on max to get you really cold, and then it feels like it's just died when you're on to sort of level 2 or 3. So I don't know. I'm not actually sure if the patent is still active on it, but they once upon a time were one of the only places you could get a heated windscreen. Button for it, down here, very handy. Gear knob, straight out of the ST Fiesta and full on ST Focus. You've got a sport mode that's controlled by down here. There's a few buttons. You can also do the automated parking thing. I like this. Two little grippy bits that are adjustable. So whatever size drink, coffee cup, travel mug, whatever you like to carry in the mornings, you can adjust the size of it here. And if you're not using it, you can cover it up. There's an armrest as well. It's kind of small, and there's an extra USB port in here, which in fairness you could use to stretch around to your rear passengers because it's pretty scabby in the back. The seats are good, nice bolsters on the side of them, again for this ST version of the car. Same steering wheel that you'll get. It's just missing an actual ST badge because it's not the full fat version of it. There is a slot for your phone in here. Looks like it's the same cutout if you get wireless charging. This doesn't have it. Another USB and a 12 volt. What's your obsession with 12 volts, Ford? Down there. Two big chunky air vents. And unlike the Leon and the Golf, they're pointing the air vents kind of at your knees. These are up a little bit higher. Bit of fake carbon fibre going on. And the fact that you get needles in this car, although you can get full digital displays, some people still prefer needles. Let me know down below if you like needles in cars. Generally now, I'm a fan of a 1 litre engine. I think, you know, if your experience of 1 litres is from many, many years ago, you're going to think, oh, it's underpowered and what the hell, how do you get performance out of that? Turbo's going to be gone. You know, strides have happened in the last few years. So the fact you can get a 125 brake horsepower EcoBoost engine out of this 1 litre, I wouldn't say it's nothing short of a miracle, but you know, it is impressive output from what is a 1 litre engine. Simple as that. My criticism of it is you really have to wind it up in order to get some performance out of it. Now, like any good, well-behaved Ford, it will rev in second gear and third gear. And if you're happy enough to wind the car up all the time, then you'll be happy with the performance. If, however, you're someone who likes low-down torque, not really bothered with actually having to drive the car, then you need to go for a different engine in the Focus, because this one actually likes being revved. And the other caveat of doing that is, if you drive it on, you're going to see about 7 litres per 100 kilometres, which is kind of against the grain of what the idea of a 1 litre EcoBoost engine is for. Does it drive better than the Golf? Yes. It's also got mild hybrid technology, which also, like the Golf, means stop start, and just that pulling away in traffic is made ever so smooth from a little bit of hybrid assistance. But that is as far as it goes. It's not a hybrid, it's not a plug-in hybrid, it's just a mild hybrid. And what I mean about that revving the nuts off it is, now I'm not exactly sure, I'll check how big the fuel tank is in this car, but driving it in a day, I've used a quarter of a tank. So that's what I mean about driving it on. Now I'm taking it easy now, and I'm seeing sort of 3-4 litres per 100 kilometres, and I still think from a tank of juice you're going to get about 500 kilometres, which is quite alright. Odd time trying to get into reverse. You've got to do that thing which, again, sometimes Fords suffer from. You take your foot off the clutch, fully disengage it, back on the clutch, and then it will click in to reverse for you. So that's something to watch out for. It's in Fords as long as I've been driving them, and that is 20 plus years. So look, if you know, you know. It doesn't happen all the time. It's kind of once in a blue moon thing, and literally you just take your foot off the clutch and away you go. But the handling of it, and this is the thing, I was due to have the Focus ST for a test last year in one of the early lockdowns, and it didn't happen, and then the ST went off the press fleet, so I didn't get to have a chance on it. But if this car and this chassis is anything to go by, the actual Focus ST must be incredible to drive, because this thing, albeit a little bit light in power on paper, I mean, if it had another 40 brake horsepower or so, it would be a cracker to drive, because it really is a brilliant car to handle. The other thing is the price of it, starting from 21 grand, although you won't get this ST version, is seriously good value. For the size of the car, you know, things like the Skoda Fabia, the new model that's about to come, that's grown in size, and it's really not vastly different from the size of this car. In fact, the boot is ever so slightly bigger. What is one of the most iconic hatches at this stage after 20 years? It's hard to imagine it's 20 plus years since the Focus first came on board. And this is just so much better to drive than, well, definitely the Golf, possibly the Leon, although that was slightly better. Kia Ceed, I think this has it. You know, it's really, really good to drive. And if that is the thing that kind of, I think that blue colour I mentioned earlier on with the right wheels, and if it has this ST pack with the twin exhaust pipes, they look very, very good. You know, they're a good looking car, and I really stand over. I think this is the best looking Focus that Ford have ever made. So what am I saying in this video? I'm saying just get the hatchback back into your head. If you don't need a crossover, these are cheaper, they handle better because they're lower down, and they do look better. So I think we just need to kind of get ourselves back into a bit of a hatch zone again and realise that they offer an awful lot. But this is one of my favourite twisty roads to have a quick little dart on. I've driven it so many times. I'm like, seriously, the handle on this is deadly. Absolutely deadly. I can't, like, in one sense I'm saying to you, it's a little bit underpowered, and then as soon as you do wind it up, it's so rewarding when you do it. And I have to somehow get the proper ST version. I have to get the keys because I have to have a go of it. If this 1 litre is this good, what the hell is the full fat ST like? Thank you very much for watching this review. If you have any comments or questions, what I thought about a certain aspect of the car versus another hatchback, anything like that, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Also, and I really do appreciate you sticking with me this far in the video today, Ford Focus, not bad at all. We need to get over our fear of hatchbacks and get back into them. Thanks for watching.